Hello, everyone, and welcome back to A Step by Step. I am your host, the LilDM. If you want to, I really don't know what to call myself. The narrator, I guess. I'm your narrator today for this step by step. Today, we're doing a witch's cottage, or at least the illusionary cottage, and then we'll creepy it up a little later. Let's get into it. So here we're going to go ahead and load in our map. We're going to change our grid like we usually do. This time around the video is at like 2.5 speed because it's slightly longer because we make a map and then we change the map as well. So we're going to go ahead and grab a forest floor. We're going to do this autumn leaf pattern. I think it looks really nice. Kind of gives that sense of fall, which it is. And we're going to go ahead and add some green to it because in fall, not everything is, orange. There is green patches here and there. We're going to go ahead and add these fall trees the same way we usually do. Like I said, in Roll20, you can put essentially walls as circular. Like I put circles and they are walls and they represent the trunks. So I try my best to put them in the middle of the grid so that I don't have any issues when, doing lighting and stuff. Here we're putting some stumps, again, trying to put them essentially where my players would think a tree used to be because it's in the middle of 4 squares. And then we're going to go ahead and grab some wood for the cabin. We went with this like straight wood. I think it looks nice. Again, you can color these however you want, but I just went with the simple wood that they got. Here we're picking out the wall, and I wanted to do like a cabin, and there's not a lot of like log options, so I went with like a palisade wall, which is usually a defensive wall. But I figured if the sticks are on the outside, it looks like it's essentially made of logs. It's just in the opposite direction of what a typical log cabin is. We went ahead and did a double door for the front door. You don't have to do a double door. It's just, again, I feel like the regular door is just too small for what it is. Here we're doing a small little pathway and kind of fixing it up by adding some of the autumn leaves and grass and stuff like that. Then we are gonna go ahead and move this stuff around and do a little garden over here. So we went with a small little fence and flipped that around, and then we went with the tilled earth. There we go. And then what you want to do is kind of blend it a little, so it's kind of blended, so it's not like perfect. If it's perfect, it's not a big deal, but it's just, I don't know, it doesn't look right to me. So we went with some cabbage or lettuce plants, whatever you want them to be. And then we went with some carrots, I want to say, some carrot plants. We had trouble finding them, but we do have some carrot plants. And then just some regular looking plants. It could be anything. And then we went with a bush. We turned this bush a little like green, and I decided, let's do some blueberries. Well, Roll20 doesn't have blueberries, so what we did is we took the apple, we turned it blue, and then we made it small. So now, if you look, we're placing these blueberries on the bush, and they look great. Again, one of the greatest aspects of Roll20. You could take anything they have and you can repurpose it for something else. you can rewire essentially what it is as a stamp or token or sticker, whatever you want to call it. Here we're adding the fireplace, and then we're of course going to lock, because I kept like, again, think of it as a painting. You lock it if you want to paint on it, but you move stuff around as if you're using a pencil, so you can erase it later. But in this case, we locked it down so we could do the interior and do. We're gonna put some windows here. We're gonna do kind of like the cabin in the woods, essentially, where there's two windows out in the middle, like in the front, and then the doors are in the middle of those windows. Very evocative if people remember old movies like I do. But we're gonna go ahead and add some crates. You can put food in them, supplies, whatever you want. Later on, I believe I just decided that these don't exist in the illusion, essentially, and we just moved on from there. Same with the barrels. And then we took this empty crate, and then we put some more barrels in the corner. With this empty crate, we went ahead and grabbed some of the blueberries from what we made before. Of course, as I'm saying that, we're doing a yellow, I want to say yellow or orange carpet. Then we will grab a table. Now this table, I'm not a fan of round tables because you can't really get them right. Because again, they're round, so you want it to be like as if someone's sitting like at the place, so you kind of have it on the outside a little bit. Put the bed in the corner. We went with some books, and then went with dressers. Now I couldn't find, again, whatever you can't find by yourself, try just typing it into the search bar. They do need to add a lot of keywords to certain items, or at least a keyword system that you can make, like if you want to label something as something else so that you can look it up using the word that you used. That would be nice. Kind of a small change to make like a little easier, make it a little easier. But the search bar does help and do the trick most of the time. So here we are just decorating. Honestly, we're going to go ahead and grab some curtains. These are going to be open curtains, so when we do the lighting, we're going to make these essentially windows that aren't blocked out. And then we are going to go ahead and add a small bench. Take off your shoes, rest, whatever the case may be. And then we're going to go ahead and add, we are going to, I think we had an idea for a chair, like a rocking chair or something like that. And I was like, oh, well, I mean, this one has like curves and stuff, but it just does not look right in the setting that it's in. I don't know. I went with like multiple chairs. I was like, maybe this one, maybe that one. Don't be afraid to just leave it and then come back to it later, like I do here with blueberries. I essentially just ignore it. And the reason these blueberries, if you think about sizing, these blueberries would probably be, if you look around, the size of a plum, which is not right. But if they were any smaller, they'd be pixelized, and you don't want to lose that quality. And most of the time, when someone is looking down at a battle map, they're more concerned with the tokens that are on the map, the lighting that you have, and their position on the map. they're not really concerned with the things on the map, and when they are, they don't have to be that detailed, and if they aren't that detailed, you don't have to put emphasis on what they are. So I could say that is a crate of blueberries, and someone can look at it once and say that's a crate of blueberries. I will go to it, I will grab a handful from it, or I will dump it over, that's the interaction. Or you could say that's just a crate of blueberries, it's way too large for any of you guys to pick up, and it looks like most of them are rotten inside, so you want to stay away, and then the players stay away. You can always, again, assume you can kind of move your players in a certain direction. Here we added a scarecrow, we added some wheelbarrows, we added some bags of essentially whatever you want. Again, it's all in essentially to make this cabin feel like real, in the sense of inviting. So we added a couple more stumps, and then we decided to go with some fall leaves. So what I did is I just spread those leaves pretty much over every surface, and I was like, but the cabin obviously doesn't have leaves in it, but that's easier to clean up, is this small cabin, than to go around the cabin. So you can always just go over the cabin. And of course, here I am saving. Please save your stuff, because stuff does happen. And that's the finished product for that one. Let's go ahead and start the hag illusion, essentially the what reality is. So we added a night filter, give it a little creepy vibe, and then we're just gonna delete all this stuff as it doesn't exist. It's just there for show. Same with the blueberries there. We went ahead and locked that. We got rid of all these like plants, and there we go. And then we're gonna go ahead and just put a pumpkin on there, on the top of the scarecrow head. Super fun. I love it. We went ahead and put that pumpkin on the top layer to kind of emphasize the pumpkin, and then we added some lighting to the pumpkin as well, kind of giving it that creep factor. You can also animate this scarecrow. There is a scarecrow monster stat block that you can use, so you could just animate it and send it after your players. We went with some creepy, weird, out of the world crops and mushrooms, kind of indicating that this is no ordinary just cabin in the woods that's just being self-reliant. We went with some normal things, like lavender is often used in spellcrafting and potion making, more so than I mean in like real life. When it comes to Wiccans or witches, they use a lot of lavender in their spells. Here we're adding some vines from these giant plants, and we went ahead and kept them on the same level, and then moved the scarecrows so that the vines look like they're creeping up. So here we removed pretty much everything from this house. We kept a couple things kind of indicating when we change the environment, like where the bed is the same of where the bed was before, but slightly moved, or how the rug in the middle was yellow, well, this one's tarnished and red. And then we went ahead and grabbed a weird chair with skulls on it, and that's the chair instead of the wooden chair that we placed there. And then here we're going to add a couple bodies, why not, to the bottom here, a bone pile, where she keeps all her bones. You can also do like an area. If you look up there, there's a way you can make an area so you don't have to click so much, but I just like clicking because it's more detailed that way. Here we have some cages with some skulls in them, or skeletons in them, and we flipped them around to make them kind of look different. And then we added a couple chests back here full of goodies for our adventurers. And then we went ahead and grabbed, we wanted to do like an eye or an eyeball thing, and I was just like, it's not doing it for me. So I was like, what else can I add? Some skulls. We can add some skulls to the fireplace here. We'll duplicate them and then flip them around. There's some skulls on the fireplace. And then we can add this essentially goat skull to the back of her chair, kind of giving that evocative, otherworldly magic feel. Some hanging skulls essentially across the bookshelf. And I think it lacked a lot of like just mess. So I went with these pelts, these destroyed pelts, and I put it underneath the table. And then I moved this wolf pelt. I added blood. So what you can do with blood is you can overlay it so that it looks like it's part of the thing. I turned the saturation almost all the way down, and I was like, why is it all black? Well, it's because when you edit one and then you place it and then you edit that one, it doesn't edit the token stamp after the fact. So you have to edit the token stamp before you place it, so that if you're placing multiple ones, it's the same every time you click. So we placed a bunch of blood everywhere. We added this little case of spell books and memorabilia and stuff like that. We moved the wolf pelt underneath essentially the rug, and kind of gave it this we gave this skull in the middle a bowl of blood. Let's say her scrying kind of area. We went with like a cabinet, but these cabinets are just so weirdly like designed that they don't go up against a wall without looking weird. So I went without it. We could have done something else. We added a book on the bed, I think. Like her spell book. If you really want it to be, you could have it be her journal. In the corners we have pages and giant things of like scrolls and lore essentially. And then for lighting, we added the light from the fireplace, as again the illusion is that it's not like everything is lit up because it's daytime, but it is nighttime, so it's lit up that way. We went ahead and added some outside effects as well. So we added a bunch of creeping vines essentially. So these vines are essentially the trees that have uprooted themselves and started like spreading around the area. At least to my understanding. I also added some vines on the inside as well. Kind of give it that not caring kind of look. In hindsight, I really shouldn't have changed these trees. I turned the saturation down, and I turned, even on the bushes, like I turned them a little more gray. I didn't need to do that because I have the night filter, which already kind of changes their saturation. So they're just a little too dark for my taste. Here I'm adding a bunch of mushrooms. Why not? Among the path. Kind of invoking that those were always there, and they were essentially leading you to the bad part. But that is the finished product. I will go ahead and add kind of a scroll where it's the main, and then what you do is you flip the map or send the map to the back and reveal essentially the real hag's place where you are. So what you can have your players do is essentially come in to help this person or come in to investigate a missing person's case, and then all of a sudden the scarecrow starts acting weird or something, and they think it's a scarecrow, and then all of a sudden the hag comes out and tells them to get off their property, and blah blah blah, magic ensues, the combat ensues. I don't know. Honestly, I'm really glad at how these turned out. I do Halloween stuff all the time. Halloween is my favorite holiday and my birthday. And I personally, I love everything to do with Halloween. So we did a little pumpkin patch, and then we did a mausoleum, and now we're doing a hag's cottage or witch's cottage. I'm not sure what to call it currently, because it's technically just a cottage, and then it becomes a hag's cottage. It's not hag's den, but either way, I want to thank you very much for watching. Again, all of these are available on the Patreon. I know, a little shameless self-promotion. Each and every map on there is bundled together. I want to say 20 to 30 maps. It's all for $1. You can come in, grab them all, and leave, and just support me that way. I've had multiple people do it for me, and I appreciate everyone that does. Thank you again for stopping by, for listening to me rant on about this and that, and I cannot wait until the next episode. And as always, I'll see you in the next one.